Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive and our Cryptognosia Core Concepts series. I'm Iris. Whether you're just curious about crypto or maybe prepping for a big meeting, this is where we break things down. We turn really dense economic ideas into plain English. Today, we're tackling something fundamental, like the absolute blueprint for any crypto asset. Tokenomics. Think of it like this. It's not the computer code itself, but more like the engine behind a digital asset. It's the economic rulebook. It dictates how a token gets made, how it's managed, how it circulates. Honestly, it's often the difference between a project that thrives long-term and one that's just, well, built to fail from the start.
That's a perfect way to put it. That framework is exactly what we need to unpack. I'm Apollo. And while Iris often highlights the, let's say, the exciting potential, the sheer innovation, my focus tends to be more on the critical data-driven side. Tokenomics is really where old-school monetary policy kind of meets modern company valuation. Our goal here is to help you see past the hype, to focus on the real factors, both quantitative and qualitative, that show if an asset is actually structurally sound. So for beginners today, we're really nailing down three core things: supply rules, the concept of utility, and how tokens get distributed.
Exactly. I'll be pointing out how clever token designs can really boost growth and build a strong community.
And I'll be flagging those critical red flags and the safeguards you absolutely need to look for.
Okay, let's dive in with the basics, supply and scarcity. The very first question anyone should ask is pretty simple, isn't it? How many tokens are there right now? And crucially, how many will ever exist? That sets the whole stage.
Yes, and to understand that, there are two key metrics we need to grasp immediately. First up is maximum supply. Think of it as the hard cap. It's the absolute total number of tokens that can ever be created, and it's usually baked right into the token's code. When you have a fixed number like that, Iris, it makes the whole economic model much more predictable, easier to analyze.
Predictability is good. What's the second metric?
That would be the circulating supply. This is the number of tokens that are actually, liquid and available to be bought or sold on the market today. It gives you a snapshot of how mature the token's economy is, and importantly, how many tokens might still be held back by the founders or early investors.
Ah, okay. And that immediately brings up the risk of dilution, right, Apollo? Something you often mention.
Indeed. That's a core risk. We need to talk about inflationary versus deflationary models. The big danger for regular investors is an inflationary setup. If new tokens are just constantly being minted without any upper limit, take Dogecoin as a famous example, that constant flood of new tokens means each individual token tends to lose value over time. Simple supply and demand. The supply just keeps growing.
But here's where the innovation kicks in, which I find fascinating. We see projects using token burns. This is a mechanism specifically designed to counteract inflation, making a token deflationary. They literally permanently destroy tokens, take them out of circulation. This helps balance the supply and can increase the value of the remaining tokens through planned scarcity. It's quite clever.
It is. And Binance Coin BNB is probably the textbook example of this done effectively. They have a clear public commitment, use 20% of their quarterly profits to buy back BNB tokens from the market, and then just destroy them, burn them. Their stated goal is to eventually destroy half the total supply, reducing it down to 100 million BNB. That creates a very clear deflationary pressure.
And it's not just exchange tokens, right? Even huge foundational blockchains like Ethereum use burns now. After that big EIP 1559 upgrade that stands for Ethereum Improvement Proposal, for anyone wondering, a little piece of every single transaction fee gets automatically burned.
Correct.
What's brilliant there, Apollo, is how this planned scarcity almost automatically rewards long-term holders. Your remaining ETH potentially becomes scarcer over time just by the network being used.
Precisely. That transparency and the predictability of the burn mechanism are key for building confidence. But scarcity alone doesn't create value. You need demand, which brings us nicely to our second pillar, utility.
Right. Utility. This is all about why the token exists. What specific job does it do? What purpose does it serve within its ecosystem? This is what drives organic demand. If a token's only purpose is speculation, just sitting in a wallet hoping the price goes up, then it doesn't really have any structural health. It needs a reason to be used. Let me give a super simple practical example. Basic Attention Token, or BEA. People using the Brave browser can choose to watch ads and earn BEA for their attention. Okay, simple enough. But the key is, they can really only spend that BEA inside the Brave ecosystem, like tipping websites or creators they like. It creates this neat closed loop, clear purpose, clear use.
That's a great example of basic transactional utility.
Mm-hmm.
But utility can be more complex too. Tokens can grant access rights. Maybe you need the token to use a specific premium feature. They can offer fee reduction, like holding BNB on Binance gives you cheaper trading fees. That's a strong incentive. And perhaps most powerfully, they can grant governance rights.
Ah, the DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations.
Exactly. Tokens like UNI for Uniswap or NKR for MakerDAO give holders actual voting power. You get a say in how the platform evolves, fee changes, future development. Owning the token means you're part of the decision-making process. That's a very compelling utility.
It really shifts the power dynamic.
It does. But Iris, here's where we need that dose of skepticism. We have to talk about bad utility and the red flags. Because frankly, many projects seem to launch a token mainly just to raise funds without a clear, sustainable purpose for it later on.
Okay, Apollo, what's the biggest red flag beginners should watch out for here?
For me, it's forced adoption. This is when a project makes you use their own specific token for a service that honestly could just as easily use Ether or Bitcoin or even just regular dollars. The demand feels artificial because it's, well, forced. If the project stops offering huge rewards or incentives to use that token, the demand often just vanishes overnight.
Because there was no real underlying need for that specific token.
Precisely. If the actual application utility is weak or non-existent, then any financial value is purely speculative. It's just based on hype, which leads to the question, what real mechanisms can projects use to bridge that gap, to encourage genuine long-term commitment, not just speculation?
Yeah, great question. And that takes us perfectly into the long game, building stability and encouraging commitment from users. We need ways to turn those short-term traders into people who are invested, literally, in the network's long-term success. And the main tool we see for this is staking. Staking, at its simplest, just means locking up your tokens, taking them out of the active circulating supply for a set period, usually to earn rewards. It does two really important things at once. It reduces the available supply, which increases scarcity, and it incentivizes people to hold on to their tokens and participate in the network.
And staking itself serves a couple of major functions, doesn't it? You might be staking to provide liquidity, basically lending your tokens to a decentralized exchange pool so others can trade. You earn fees for that. Or, maybe more fundamentally, you're staking to provide decentralized safety. This is crucial for networks using proof of stake, like Ethereum now or Cardano. By locking up your tokens you stake, you're helping to secure the network, validate transactions, and you get rewarded for taking on that responsibility.
Yeah, and even if the lockup period isn't years long, maybe just a couple of months, it still helps the network calculate its security budget and gives participants a nice passive income stream. All right, we boiled down a ton of research on the key concepts of tokenomics and what matters for a project's long-term success. Getting this fundamentals right is absolutely essential. If this breakdown clicked for you, smash that subscribe button because honestly, we're not finished yet. In the second part of our tokenomics episode, we'll focus on the crucial aspects of token distribution, volatility prevention, establishing trust and transparency for long-term project viability, and how investors can shield themselves against speculative projects. So click now to meet us in part 2.